girl, because you an irritant girl. Right now, you in the way of him making his money with Leah the Bongo. Okay, girl, get out the way. Move, girl. I didn't rage or cry. In fact, I felt relief. It was as if some sort of sign had been sent down to me that it was all right that I wanted to be out of my situation. There is a certain embarrassment that goes along with knowing your husband is sleeping with a member of your own household. Well, it ain't like y'all living in a 3-bedroom house with with 2,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet, girl. Havenhurst is like the size of a goddamn RFK, a stadium. You don't have to see that bitch if you don't want to. If the person is attractive and dynamic and has a body that would make grown men weep, you might not like it, but you might understand the situation. Leah, however, was overweight and unattractive. Even the security guards had trouble keeping a straight face when she walked by. That's because you don't get it yet, Peggy. A bitch like me, some of you ladies out there, y'all know exactly what's going on. She apparently had something the Jackson men loved, though, because it wasn't long before Jermaine wasn't the only recipient of her favors. Stay on board, pay attention. I was in the kitchen with the cook, Catherine and Alejandra, one evening when Joseph came walking in from the direction of Leah's room. As he walked past me, I noticed a condom hanging out of his pocket. When he saw that I had spotted it, he jammed it quickly in his pocket and kept moving. Who's to say whether he did it on purpose? Still, the idea of both the grandfather and the father of my children sleeping with the same woman disgusted me. You don't get it yet? And I know you like, nay, everybody ain't selling fish dinners. She's selling fish dinners. She is the Jackson fish dinner seller. If the son and the father is hunching the one girl, and she's an unattractive girl, they can get up in her mind. They know that that girl is crazy. Who steals from her own sister? She leaving the house every day. What is she doing? She ain't going to no job. Not no official job. She going on dates every day. Making money. I'll move forward. Randy was up to his old tricks too. While the mother of 2 of his 3 children was sleeping on a bed in the Jacksons' converted gym, Randy was going off to have sex with his almost ex-wife. He and Eliza were suing each other for divorce, but that didn't seem to matter. When he wasn't with Eliza, he was with Alejandra, each woman fully knowing about the other. Alejandra, she's a piece of work. Why? Because she slept with Jermaine. But I'm telling you, that girl was hurt. And what she did out of hurt was the ultimate get back. Not only am I going to get with your dumbass brother, but I'm going to have some kids by him too. Eliza would call the house and scream at Catherine because the Jacksons were housing the woman who broke up her marriage to Randy. Alejandra would complain that Randy was always sneaking off to sleep with the woman who hated him so much that she was suing him for divorce. That was revenge. When the 2 women would get on the phone together, it sounded like a cat fight. It wasn't any calmer on the business front. As I became more comfortable in my role as producer, I would spend more and more time away from Havenhurst. Away from home, I had a sense of self-respect and a feeling that I was able to make a difference. He would think nothing of calling Tony Jones and yelling at him over the telephone. Tony, who had known and watched out for Jermaine during the Jackson 5 days, found himself again playing nursemaid to the man. Jermaine would question Tony about my income, my business, and my projects, and he would do his best to lace his comments with guilt. "How could you do this?" he bellowed to Tony. "We've been friends for so many years." It was a line Tony was prepared for. Despite Tony's assurances that Jermaine was powerless to prevent my involvement with the past entertainment, It didn't stop Jermaine from trying. I suppose it was inevitable that the day would come when I would walk in on Jermaine having one of those telephone conversations. Hearing what he was saying to Tony, I was furious. I couldn't imagine what Tony was thinking, but I certainly knew what I was. When I told Jermaine to stop calling my office and badgering my friends, he threw down the telephone. I grabbed it quickly to apologize to Tony, who did not deserve this kind of treatment. As I was saying I was sorry, I felt Jermaine's hand slam into my face. Turning to face Jermaine, I saw something that broke my heart. My two sons had witnessed the attack and were staring at both of us. Why did you hit Mommy? Jeremy asked in a voice softer than normal. Because Mommy was being bad, Jermaine answered and left the room. I ran over and hugged my boys and told them everything was going to be all right. As the words came out of my mouth, I wondered silently how in God's name I was ever going to get out of Cirque du Soleil so I could make those words come true. I went racing down the hall to find Catherine, who was in her bedroom. I don't know what has gone on here in the past, but Jermaine just hit me in front of my boys. Ooh, that was a dig to Catherine. So basically, she carried Catherine. Okay, Catherine, you may be the hussy that allow your husband to beat your arse in front of your children, but that ain't me. But you allowed Jermaine, according to you, this is what you said, not what I said, what you said, that Jermaine was a little aggressive with his spankings with the children. Okay, so it's okay to put his hands on the children, but when it comes down to putting his hands on you, that's where you draw the line. Catherine, I'm not you. You sure? Unfortunately, it did happen again and again and again. The reason was immaterial. The outcome always the same. Jermaine would lose control of the situation and had only physical force to place himself back in charge. He would twist my arm behind me, push me around the room, and then toss me down like a rag doll. He needed no other reason than the frustration of a relationship that had collapsed. Yeah, girl, because you an irritant, girl. Right now, you in the way of him making his money with Leah the Bongo. Okay, girl, get out the way. Move, girl. Joseph would exacerbate the problem by sneering or scowling whenever he walked past me. Joseph felt he had me figuratively pinned in a corner and was delighted by his ability to make me squirm. I hated it and wanted Jermaine to stop his father out of common decency. Jermaine refused, just as Jermaine usually refused to do anything that would put him at odds with Joseph. Child, ain't nobody paying no attention to Joseph. Joseph ain't paying the bills. Michael Jackson is. That's the daddy. Instead of you going to Joseph or Catherine whan about Jermaine's behavior, you should have went to Michael. Bling, Michael, Jermaine around here putting his hands on me and the children. Can you do something about it? So call Michael the Jackson. He the pappy, girl. I never thought of myself as a victim. It was not a role I could or would play. From the first time Jermaine raised his hand to me, he was history as far as I was concerned. But I now understand what makes some women stay in abusive situations. I understand it too. A lot of us women, we don't have that sympathy because it's not empathy. Because I don't empathize. Because I haven't been in a woman's shoes who has been physically abused, verbally and mentally abused. Way too many times. I can't empathize with physical abuse, okay? But I sympathize with them because I understand that now it's a form of Munchausen. Do I got the right words, y'all? That disease where you locked in with your victim? Or is Munchausen eating Vaseline and shit? What is that? What is that when you fall in love with your victimizer? What is that? Am I crazy? There are a lot of psychological reasons, but for me, it was plain economics. Word. You hear me? Word. Word. When you have 2 children, no personal money, no job, and only dreams, it is hard to walk. There is also that little voice in the back of your head that whispers, maybe if your husband begins to feel better about himself, things will change and be like they used to be. Do not listen to that little voice. Once someone starts hurting you, there is no going back to the way things used to be. Word. Word. I knew I needed help. I later suggested to Jermaine that we talk to a marriage counselor. To me, professional help was our final chance to salvage what remained of a very damaged relationship. I got Jermaine to agree, and together we made our first appointment with a psychologist, unsure of what direction the therapy would take. At the session, Jermaine explained to the therapist his feelings about my working. I explained my feelings about our financial crisis. Jermaine said I wouldn't have sex with him. I revealed the presence of a house guest named Leah DeBungo. The therapist looked at us both as if we were truly out of our minds. She said that the first step towards healing was to remove Leah DeBungo from the picture. That was all Jermaine had to hear. He went on the defensive with the counselor. I don't like the fact that Margaret's working and managing other people. Take care of that problem. Then I'll see to the Leah Bongo. And that's the deal, Jermaine said. Them unreasonable mother. Oh my God, you cannot be unreasonable. You hear me? Very much so unreasonable. And if you don't have two parties sitting there together trying to work it out, therapy is just a waste of money, period. Because you could have a situation where one partner is ready to lay everything on the line with truth and honesty. And then you have the other partner there that just shuts down. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you could have a session where it just feels like you're tattletelling on the other partner. I told Catherine what the therapist had said, and she told me that the answer to the problem was simple. Give up my work. Why? I asked. So that I can be like Enid? So that I can be like Dee Dee? So that I can be like you? Girl, you being a little disrespectful in the Cirque du Soleil household now, girl. You doing a little too much. Don't make her call Michael on your ass. If Jermaine loved me, he would respect me as a person and encourage me in what I choose to do. Catherine didn't get it. That wasn't the way she saw things. There was nothing more to say. Rather than improving, the situation with Leah DeBongo actually began escalating after the therapy session. As if to prove a point, Jermaine flaunted Leah DeBongo in front of me like a possession as often as possible. Yeah, because that's what pimps do. They flaunt their hoes. You didn't know that? He increasingly resorted to physical violence to get my attention. Whenever he didn't direct at me personally, he took his aggression out on the house. Not Michael's house. Not the house where Michael paid the bills. Is he crazy, girl? Walls were punched. Doors were knocked down. Glasses were broken. Oh, he got to go. Bring Michael, Jermaine round here tearing up your house, Michael. I was frightened and told Catherine I was worried that something horrible would happen. The poor woman by this time had been diagnosed with high blood pressure. I knew if I stayed around much longer, I would be in the same shape. My options were limited, however, and of the few at my disposal, Catherine was the best. I wanted Leah DeBongo out. I felt it was bad for my children to see their father carrying on with another woman while we were all living in the same house. Every time I spoke to Catherine about Leah DeBongo, she would promise to do something, but she did nothing except look the other way. Out of some foolish sense of duty, I took one of my payments as a producer on a miniseries and gave Hazel several $1,000s to cover Jermaine's debt in unpaid child support. No, it's not foolish. A lot of women do that. Now, they ain't fitting to pay nobody's child support, but I understand why women do it. You know, I know a lot of y'all fitting to be in the comments like, there ain't no way I'm fitting to pay no ninja child support. But women do it. They want to see their man succeed. They want their man happy. So these are the things that you have to do because, like I said, shame is a horrible thing, especially with men. Us women, we get shamed all the time. What is so funny to me is how men take it so personal and so hard when their friends carry them. You mad because your homeboy talked to a girl that you wanted to talk to, but you dogged the woman that got your back every day. Blasphemous. Blasphemy. I also used $20,000 to pay off a bank loan for Jermaine to take care of the $10,000 bill for a storage company that was threatening to sell Jermaine's musical equipment, and made a $25,000 tax payment Jermaine owed to the IRS for a tour in Japan he had processed under my name. Girl, all I can say is sometimes you gotta pay a nigga to go away. Okay? Sometimes you got to set him up for success so that you can be successful. Okay? Baby, sometimes it's easier to just pay a nigga to get out your house and go away. That done, I seized every opportunity to advance my knowledge and get a leg up on the business ladder. And I continued to network around Hollywood, believing in my own abilities. On the evening of July 4th, 1993, I had been out to dinner with a group of friends and returned to Havenhurst by 9:30 that night. I went up to our room and found Jermaine had taken all my clothes out of the closet. He had ripped up many of them and tossed the rest around the room. I knew I had to make a move.